Live here on Sky Sports Extra. Now, he could have been forgiven for thinking that Tim Henman would be on an early flight home after seeing who he'd drawn in the first round at this year's US Open. While experts feared the worst for the British #2 against Russian Dmitry Tursunov, Tim set out yesterday to defy the odds. Here's another chance to sit back and enjoy some vintage Henman. We join it in the first set with the score levelled at 4-all. Tursunov to serve. Your commentators Leif Sharas and Mark Petchey.
Yeah, that last replay really sort of nostalgic in a way, because you're just feeling like there aren't many guys who can volley that well in the game and who can use it as really a foundation for their play. Yeah, that's a big serve. You know, after Pete Sampras retired, Patrick Rafter retired. And who's going to be holding up the lamp for the serve and volleyers?
Excellent footwork. Tursunov trying to tuck up Henman, and that's a good play if somebody's trying to chip charge against you, but unfortunately for the Russian, Henman wasn't looking to come in after it. And he snuck in there. Wonderful play by Henman.
And again, able to find the backhand. And again, instead of going to the forehand, pressures the backhand, and he's got an easy volley as a result.
Henman was waiting for his chance to get into the net, and he took it beautifully. Reels off 4 straight points. What a time to break for Henman, and he'll have the opportunity to serve for this first set. Well, he played that just about as well as he could, all 4 points.
Yeah, and he took advantage of what Tursunov gave him, which was enough time. And again, the point develops so much more favorably for Henman when he can get the ball to the Tursunov backhand, because Tursunov doesn't generate that same explosive power off the two-hander. And that gives him a little more time, and Henman that time saw the ball early and was able to get a good jump on the chip and charge. So there's a bit of light in the opening set.
Find your seats, please, ladies and gentlemen. Thank you. Time. Seats, please.
encouraging start here by Henman. He's been under pressure a couple of times on his service game throughout this opening set, so this is not a foregone conclusion that he's going to manage to serve it out. But I think surprising quite a few people with the quality of his tennis. Not the sort of start to this game that he had visualised as he sat at the changeover. Third double fault.
Yeah, and that serve there, just the faintest hint of slice to add a little bit of control plus pace. And you went right into the Tiger's mouth, Tursunov's forehand.
That time attempting to get into the body, but just 118, it just didn't have enough pace on it.
Yeah, and what a return. I mean, you just have to credit your opponent that time. He fought off a body blow and brought it right back up the line. Where will Henman go with this first serve, and will he serve and volley? Well, there are times in the match where even though you want to be forward, you want to volley, you have to do something else. You can't come in all the time, and that time Henman toughed out a difficult point. Maybe a first serve could rescue him here. Right down the tee.
In the last game, and again now, and big points out to the Jew side, he's actually taken it into Tursunov's forehand. An opening set that's taken 41 minutes to get to this stage. Even if he did challenge that call, the best he could have hoped for was another first serve. Oh, he breaks British hearts.
Yeah, Henman does everything right this point. A good attacking swing volley. Maybe it landed a little short, but that was a rocket of a pass. Well, he's known for his sense of humor, but he means business today, doesn't he?
Oh, that's outrageous. I mean, that is one of the most incredible passes I think you'll see this Open.
Oh, and he crushed that ball. You could not hit a better approach than that. Absolutely crushed it.
So two seemingly unreal backhand passes from Tursunov. Gives him an opportunity to break back. A little courage required on that second serve.
And I think we are seeing Henman finding a little bit of an advantage when he serves into the forehand. And Tursunov, when he rips the forehand, not as much control as the backhand provides him.
Tursunov unable to ride his luck after the return, drops onto Henman's baseline. And the crowd urging Henman on. Second set point. And he takes it. Two is all he needs to claim the opening set here against Tursunov. Just the start that Henman and we wanted.
September on Sky Sports.
Cricket. One-day action between England and India.
India, Australia and the World 2020. Golf.
The European Masters.
Mercedes-Benz Championship.
Seve Trophy.
And the Solheim Cup.
A new season of NFL.
The Super League playoffs.
Rugby Union's new Premiership season.
Speedway's Elite League Grand Final.
And Grand Prix action from Poland and Slovenia.
A new season of A1GP.
And Premier League snooker.
September on Sky Sports.
What's that? That could be the sound of even cheaper car insurance. Elephant.co.uk.
Elephant.co.uk?
Yes, you can go online, get a quote in minutes, and you could save loads on your car insurance. And if you have an accident, you could even get a free courtesy car.
Elephant.co.uk, I presume.
For even cheaper car insurance, it's elephant.co.uk.
Second set, Tursunov to serve.
Number 27 seed to start off the second set. And it's worth getting totally carried away, isn't it, Leith? Because Nadal is in Tursunov's section with him, and so when Henman wins this match and Nadal goes out, we're going to see him in the second week late on.
I think it's worth speculating on, yes. Oh. We'll see. In my wild speculation, Henman earns his 500 match win right here at the US Open, reaching the finals against Roger Federer. Now, wouldn't that be nice?
And in doing so, also takes his tally to over 100 match wins in Grand Slam play. And it could be the shortest-lived retirement of all time.
And then he's back in the game. And Sky will be there to bring it to you.
Unfortunately, we'll get back to reality, and Tursunov with a fairly routine hold at the start of the second set. Of course, Henman got to win another couple of sets in this one.
And if numbers are what you're into, they're fairly telling set, but they tell a lot of good things for Tim Henman. And he likes to convert at the net, and that's where the pressure is. That's where the whips are cracking, and he was doing enough good things up there to make it happen. Avoided enough trouble with the double faults, although obviously you'd like him to be perfect, but he has to play and serve aggressively, and that's why he had a few more double faults than aces.
I suppose it's worth mentioning a note of caution after our fantasising at the start of this second set that Tursunov did in fact lose the opening set to Hemmen in the 2006 Australian Open before rattling off the next three.
Just out.
Carlos Ramos just telling Hemmen that he felt the ball was out as well. Such an intelligent shot at the end of a really lengthy exchange.
15-all.
Yeah, and Hedman knows side to side Tursunov can be as good as anyone in the world, so he just throws in this nice little change on the backhand, stays on even terms, and then suddenly throws in that one, and that earns him the error.
Interesting look at his footwork there as well, wasn't it? He is just not going to give up any real estate to Tursunov in those baseline rallies. Certainly been a very profitable serve out wide to Tursunov's forehand.
Traction was good. I
wouldn't be surprised if we saw the first challenge here from Tursunov.
And he's saying, I'm not going to challenge that.
40-15.
You know, if the umpire overrules it, it's most likely going to be good. So Tursunov decides to save his challenge for later. It's very early in this set.
Well, it's going to be interesting as this match progresses to see whether Tursunov is going to shut the door out wide on his forehand side, because Hemmen getting a lot of cheap points with that serve.
Yeah, and that serve is such a confidence serve. You really have to be on top of your game in your best rhythm to convert that one consistently.
Hemmen's had his problems with back injury, so has Tursunov back in 2002. The Russian was sidelined for most of the year. Misdiagnosis of the back, eventually found out he had 2 fractures in it. Also in 2004, injured it again and broke a vertebra by having an accident in a boat on the water.
And you can see how Henman's play gets into his opponent's head. I mean, Tursunov double faults now, consecutive points.
Tursunov, I would have liked to have seen him come in on the return there, because you knew it wasn't going to be a particularly big second serve after 2 double faults.
Yeah, or even go for a little more. But either way, he's disappointed with that result.
That's a little special from the Russian, and it's exactly the type of shot his forehand can deliver at times. Seen precious few of them so far. Hemmen a set up, but Tursunov leading in the second.
Oh yes, I'm the great pretender. Pretending I'm doing well. My need is such, I pretend too much. I'm lonely, but no one can tell. Oh yes, I'm the great pretender. Just laughing and gay like a clown. I seem to be what I'm not, you see.
Hey George, thanks for bringing the car.
I'm wearing my heart like a crown, pretending that you're still around.
Tursunov back then in 2001 was enjoying an 18-match winning streak in the Futures, in the Challengers, and then onto the Tour.
Service.
Fifth ace, fourth of this set. I suppose in many ways it summed up Tursunov as a person when he said afterwards, I didn't have anything to do that week and I've never been to Tennessee, so I thought I'd go. He stayed very calm, Tursunov. Hasn't panicked after dropping that opening set.
That was a remarkable get, and it almost became an awkward play for Henman, who suddenly had to get out of the way of a ball that was going to land on the sideline. It almost became a disastrous situation. In fact, it almost struck him, didn't it? But this was a great forehand that he produced. He was in trouble in the game, behind in the score.
Well, Tursunov obviously gave up the point, feeling as though Henman would just knock it away with a high backhand volley. Probably be a little disappointed that he didn't chase back into the court.
Because he had a bit of time to recover. Yeah, and just these slight displays of anger from Tursunov are the kind of things you could count on a little bit. And I think it'll be very satisfying for Henman to see that he's just beginning to, chip away at that confidence that the Russian possesses right now.
It's been a very fluctuating year, really, in many respects for Tursunov. Really struggled after the Australian Open to win any sort of back-to-back matches, as this match hits the hour mark. Reached the third round early in the year to the Russian.
It had to be a good volley, didn't it? Tursunov was immediately at top speed. Yet Henman's volley was too good. It ran away from the Russian.
Oh, he sent Henman the wrong way. Looked virtually impossible for Tursunov to drag that back cross court.
Now, I've watched Tursunov play matches, particularly in LA last year, where he was a finalist, where he was producing these shots on a consistent basis. I mean, when he catches fire, boy, his game is ablaze. I mean, he's got shots all over the place.
Well, all credit to him. He took the net away from Henman.
Yeah, and you can see what a mature competitor he has become. As you said, Petch, he's not panicking. He's fighting, competing, and now he's even taking the attack forward. He's doing a lot of good things right now. Henman needs to be sharp here.
Let for service. Tursunov is challenging the ball on the right near side. Ball's called hold.
So this a fairly big challenge in many ways. It is the opportunity for Henman potentially to have another first serve, or Tursunov's going to have a look at a second serve on break point. And Henman with that chance.
Tursunov has one challenge win for service.
Well, Tursunov must have had a feeling it was going to go there. And yet unable to get the ball back into play.
It's amazing how Henman has been able to turn the tables. In the early going, it was the Tursunov forehand that was so dangerous and dominant, particularly on the return. But now Henman has broken it down. He's serving in such a way that the forehand, Tursunov, he's never quite comfortable with it. Wonderfully executed serving strategy.
That's a huge hold for Henman. Tursunov, throughout the course of this match, has had 3 break points. He's been unable to convert on any.
Yeah, in my mind, I felt there would have been more breaks of Henman's serve, so he's done a great job with this.
15 love.
That's a good start for Hemmen as well, out acing Tursunov. So often you'll see a game like this after a very lengthy battle. Indeed, it's a love service game for Tursunov. Hemmen will sit down, I'm sure, very happy with his couple of games work there by hanging on to his serve. 3-2 to the Russian.
Need cheaper car insurance? Call the AA team on 0800 197 3144. We'll compare prices from over 20 insurers. We could save you up to 35% if you switch to us, with a full money-back guarantee if you find a cheaper quote. Call us now on 0800 197 3144 or visit theaa.com. The AA team. They're very keen, you know.
If you've been refused credit elsewhere, nobody tries harder than Welcome Car Finance to get you a newer car. Every year we approve thousands of people for car credit. Many of our top name cars are under 2 years old and all come with an independent quality and safety check and full MOT. Call Welcome Car Finance now and we'll give you at least £1,000 for your old car plus £250 cash back. Call Welcome Car Finance now on 0800 040 9000 or visit our website.
Tursunov continued to dominate in the second set. We rejoin the action with the Russians serving at 4-2, having just broken Hemmen. Your commentators Leif Sharas and Mark Petchey.
Just out.
I think there is an element for Hemmen as well in his decision-making behind his retirement, that he just feels like the game's almost moved on so much in terms of the power servers. After playing Isner in Washington, he was playing doubles with Mahesh Bhapati afterwards, and Bhapati was saying to him, well, I just felt like you would have tried to guess a little bit more about where he was serving, and Simon's like, well, I've never had to guess before in my life. I've been able to pretty much read people's serves and have enough time to put my racket on the ball, whereas he feels as though the game is just, with a guy like Isner who's 6'9", that you've almost got to now just take educated guesses.
No, the game's going vertical. You know, it really is. It's a challenge from Tursunov. But, you know, you look at, Karlovic, all these giants coming out here, and I mean, they're looking down into the service box saying that's an ocean, and they're cracking away, and it's tough. What does the technology tell us?
Tursunov has no challenges remaining.
Just couldn't get out of the way of it, Hemmen. It came straight at him.
Yeah, down at the ladies' clinic at the club, they call this the windshield wiper volley. Look at this. Oh, yes, nice. Sadly, it doesn't work on this field of play. Bit of self-preservation in that one, wasn't there? Gosh, he's been sharp off the backhand.
I hear you're quite proficient at teaching that particular shot, Leaf.
Well, if the hourly rate's right and they want to learn about the windshield wiper. Oh, what a shot. And that elicited a smile from Tursunov. He was that close to the net. And that's a great play. I mean, he has to avoid touching the net here. If he does, he loses the point.
Tursunov showing some lovely little touches on those last 2 points, showing that he's more than just brawn here, and he consolidates the break. 5-2 second set.
For every friend you introduce to Sky TV, we'll give you £30 of M&S vouchers. Each friend you introduce will also get £30 of vouchers. All your friend has to do is join Sky TV and choose any Sky Entertainment package starting from just £15 a month, with free Skybox and mini dish installed on a day that's convenient. And because you can introduce as many friends as you like, there's no end to the amount of vouchers you can get. To get your vouchers, just ask your friends to call 08702 404 004.
What if your life plays out like a drama? Life insurance for your life story. Because change happens. Zurich.
Hour and a quarter gone in what is potentially Henman's last match at a major championship in his career. And Tursunov on the brink of leveling things up at a set apiece.
Well, that's the benefit of the backhand drive.
15 left.
You can see Tursunov is already moving to the backhand corner to play an inside-out forehand. If you can take the backhand up the line, it doesn't allow him to get away with that.
He's done such a good job of keeping Tursunov behind his baseline, not having that type of look at a shot up the middle, and exactly what Paul Annacone was talking about is you don't want to play up the centre channel and allow Tursunov to be able to dictate to you left and right.
Yeah, I think that's where that backhand down the line is critical, because it forces him to come back cross court where Henman can get in on the forehand, attack into the backhand perhaps.
Right for serve.
Yeah, and that's the standard that Henman has had to play at all day. I mean, he's having to produce these remarkable serves. And even with a great serve like that, the Russian is in with a swing. He's a menacing opponent.
It's an important game in context of the third set that's coming up, because Tursunov more than likely going to claim this second set, but if Henman can hang on to his serve here, at least it would give him the benefit of starting off the third set. He certainly doesn't look like a man on the verge of retiring. This is some of the best serving that I think we've seen from him almost all year.
Yeah, and it's almost what's required today. I mean, if he doesn't serve this well, he doesn't have a chance.
Finds the target he was aiming for deep in Tursunov's corner there.
Tursunov leads 5 games to 3, second set.
Now that's the kind of game he can gain some momentum from. He hit the ball well. His first point, important for Henman.
15 left.
Tursunov's first serve percentage in this match at 54%, but he's been winning a high percentage when he's been making it.
Well, that's the shot we've been talking about, the one that's a little bit shorter than normal, and unintentionally that was the right play. Henman was just bunting the ball back into play.
Very timely fifth ace, making life a little easier for himself. Well, Henman really didn't have time to move his feet, did it all with his hands. Quite outrageous pass.
40-30.
Miraculous save of the first set point. Can Tursunov clinch it here? He can. Henman's approach drifts long, and Tursunov, after an hour and 23 minutes of this match, levels things up in this first round match of this year's US Open.
Here at Greenhill Finance, we've helped people who've recently changed jobs, failed a credit scoring system, heard it will take 2 to 3 months to arrange their new mortgage, or been told they're just too old. We're here to help.
Hello, Greenhill Finance. How can I help you?
At Greenhill Finance, we use plain and simple language in everything we do.
You can apply by telephone or visit greenhillfinance.co.uk. We'll take care of everything from the moment you get in touch.
A loan or mortgage can be taken over any period you choose, as long as the payment is affordable.
Sometimes a remortgage is the most sensible way to make sure you pay off all outstanding commitments.
We don't rely on a credit search. You will be treated as individuals with individual circumstances.
With our experience and expertise, we can make a difference.
If you're a homeowner or mortgage payer, call now on 0800 916 4141 or apply online at greenhillfinance.co.uk.
They're fairly identical in their numbers, aren't they? I think that says a lot about why we're at a set each. There hasn't been much between the two of them, just each with a surgical break to capture the sets. Obviously, Tursunov, the younger, stronger, the favorite in this one. So Henman needs to walk that tightrope all the time. He needs to execute, needs to stay ahead. Tursunov's a difficult man to catch in a sprint.
And alarmingly, he's starting to find his forehand pass.
Yeah, and you know, you see that shot on TV, but on a tennis court, you just go, this is so good. Look at how far back in the court he is, and look at the good position Henman has. He's one of the best players in the world at the net, and he got burned completely.
Henman and the cameraman.
The cameraman took a shot as well, didn't he?
Don't always want to go deep, and Henman there with a nice little short volley.
30-15.
And having said that about Tursunov, you have to say about Henman that that was brilliant play as well. Look at the movements, the long balanced strides, such agility.
What's the one thing that's perhaps holding Tursunov back, Leif, in terms of propelling himself inside the top 20 and maybe even towards the top 10?
Yeah, I just think perhaps his over-reliance on power. You know, he uses power so consistently that he doesn't set up his moments, and I think guys get a groove on his power. Plus, it doesn't allow you to play as consistently as you should at the right times.
14 seconds.
You know, and in some small way, Tursunov could use a little more nuance in his game, whether it's just that occasional volley, just something a little bit different to change things up and keep it fresh for himself, much less to allow his opponent to get into a rhythm. Because this guy's got the equipment to be a serious top 10 player.
We know all about Henman's top 10 pedigree throughout the course of his career. 5 years he spent in the top 10, 8 altogether in the top 20. It was a model of consistency.
Well, Mark, obviously you were around Henman when you were a player. As we just take a quick glance at some numbers, and we discussed already, you can see how Henman wasn't able to capitalize at the net as often as he did in the opening set, and Tursunov reacting well. But obviously he was a big part of your career. I know he came in sort of more towards when you were sort of finishing up, but how did he impact your career in your life?
Well, I think from a perspective of coming in, it was the first time we'd ever seen anybody that sort of had the ability to almost definitely say, well, he was going to be even a top 100 player. I mean, that was how scarce they were in Britain back then.
But he seemed to have the work ethic that you know, sort of allowed him to do it and do it in a way that, you know, made it more meaningful, more special.
Well, I think that's one of the things that's definitely been lost with Tim over the years is his work ethic, is his desire and ambition. And that at times, I think the way that he plays, it looks all a little comfortable and a little effortless, but there's a whole lot of hard work that's gone into that.
15.
Well, you told me once that over the course of a year he had played something like over 100 matches, and these were in the years of his development, and that's really what it takes to become a player. You have to put in that kind of workload to understand the game, how to compete, how to win.
Yeah, you never heard from Hemmen or people around Hemmen when he was coming up any excuses about anything. You know, yes, he broke his foot, but I mean, that was a serious injury. But, you know, you never hear of the sort of the slight strains that it keeps him out for a couple of months, or, well, this wasn't right, or that wasn't right. There was never any of that. There was just a sheer focus on becoming the best player that he could be, and an utter belief that he was going to be that player at some stage. And I think that stubbornness is being shown out here on the court today, that this isn't going to be his last match in his own mind, but he's going to find a way to win it. And certainly points like that will help his cause.
Yeah, and Henman does have that old school game, doesn't he? He doesn't have that ridiculous power that can hit through the ball, but it allows him to set up the next play, which is a finishing touch. And his winning play comes from combinations, which I always thought was more compelling than just outright power.
And again, great illustration of the superb hands he possesses to be able to drop that ball onto Tursunov's baseline. Well, what a start to the third set this would be for Henman. Would you believe it? A double fault from Tursunov, and Henman breaks through early on at the start of this third. Could not have asked for a better start.
Yeah, and over the course of the entire match so far, it's been Henman who's been more consistent mentally. And that's why he's got this little edge now. Just hasn't given up much. And I think that's what you have to do with a player like Tursunov. You have to make him earn everything. If he's too good at the end of the day, you shake his hand and say too good, but otherwise you battle and make him beat you. Obviously capitalizing when you have your moments to win the point as well. That's it, first serve, keep the score close.
Henman still above 60% of first serves that are finding their target, so that is a very healthy percentage for the British number 2.
It's breathtaking to watch that kind of volley. Just allowing the racket head to get in position with so much flow, knocking it off for a winner.
Blistering return in fairly blistering heat, it has to be said here, but Henman looking pretty fresh, which is encouraging. It's been tough for him to put in the mileage as well, and for the endurance. He's not had a lot of matches recently. Just over the baseline, and perhaps going to that forehand once too often. It's a fine balancing act when you play Tursunov. The Russian, the chance to recover the break. And he has done. Henman unable to put the ball away, giving Tursunov one more chance, one more look at a passing shot. And the Russian delivers, and that's a blow for Henman. They swap breaks, and Tursunov trailing 1-2.